Imagine paying $3,000 every single month. Not for your mortgage, not for your rent, but just for HOA fees. Yes, you heard that right. Across Florida, thousands of condo owners are watching their monthly bills skyrocket to unthinkable levels, turning their homes into financial nightmares. And what's worse, this isn't just a slowdown. This is a full-blown freefall, a collapse that could push some Florida condos to become worthless liabilities. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most shocking real estate meltdowns happening right now, Florida's condo crisis. If you think housing markets can't crash in 2025, think again. Because what's happening here could reshape not only Florida's real estate, but potentially the national housing market as well. Let's start where the damage is hitting the hardest: Cape Coral and St. Petersburg. These are some of Florida's most beloved snowbird destinations. Retirees, vacationers, and investors have flocked here for years, chasing sunshine and ocean views. But today, these same condos are plummeting in value. By Zillow's own data, a typical St. Pete condo that was worth around $271,000 at the peak in 2022 has already fallen to just $225,000. That's an 18% drop. But it gets even uglier in Cape Coral, where prices have plunged by 21%. Now let's pause here. That's not just a dip. By any definition, that's already a crash. And if current trends continue, it's only going to get worse. In Cape Coral, condos are bleeding value at a rate of about 1.1% every single month. That means prices are dropping nearly 13% per year. If that pace holds, Cape Coral condos could fall all the way back to 2019 levels within just 2 years. The same is true in St. Pete, where condos are on what can only be described as a cliff dive. But here's the scary part. This isn't only about market cycles or a little bit of oversupply. What we're seeing right now is a perfect storm of collapsing demand, exploding fees, and new laws that have turned Florida condos into ticking financial time bombs. So, what happened? To understand the crisis, we need to go back to 2021. That year, the tragic Surfside condo collapse near Miami killed 98 people. It was a horrifying wake-up call for Florida and for condo associations across the country. In response, Florida passed Senate Bill 4D, a sweeping new law that forced condo associations to take structural safety seriously like never before. Now, on paper, this law sounds like exactly what was needed. It requires older buildings to undergo detailed inspections, maintain stronger insurance coverage, and fully fund reserves for future repairs. In other words, no more kicking the can down the road. If your building has problems, you fix them now. But here's where things spun out of control. Once these new rules hit, associations suddenly realized they had decades of deferred maintenance to deal with. Crumbling concrete, outdated wiring, unsafe balconies, you name it. And fixing all of this? It comes with a price tag in the millions. The only way to pay for it was through something condo owners dread: special assessments. Special assessments are essentially giant one-time bills slapped onto owners, on top of their regular HOA dues. For some, this has meant being forced to pay tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket, sometimes within just months. That's how we ended up with people paying $2,000 to $3,000 every single month in HOA dues. And remember, that's before the mortgage. To see how devastating this can be, let's look at Regency Gardens in Orlando. This isn't a luxury condo tower with high-end finishes. These are modest condos, many of which were purchased for under $100,000 before the pandemic. 4 years, residents paid around $300 a month in HOA dues. Affordable, right? But then reality struck. The HOA discovered a $15 million shortage in reserves. Their solution? A massive special assessment. Overnight, owners were told they had to pay as much as $22,000 each, and on top of that, their HOA fees tripled. Suddenly, that $300 bill jumped to $900 per month. For working families and retirees on fixed incomes, it was a crushing blow. Many could no longer afford to stay. They were forced to sell, or worse, face bankruptcy. And when too many owners try to sell at once, prices collapse. We've already seen condos here plummet in value. One unit that was once worth around $178,000 just sold for $115,000, a 36% drop. And yet, even at that discount, these condos are struggling to attract buyers. Why? Because who wants to pay $900 a month in HOA dues forever for a condo that's worth barely over $100,000? And this is just one community. The same story is playing out across Florida, from Miami to St. Pete to Cape Coral. What started as a safety reform has spiraled into a financial earthquake, and it's not just affecting today's owners. It's shaking the entire Florida condo market to its core. But here's the thing, we're still only scratching the surface. Because the real danger isn't just in the bills owners are facing today, it's in what's coming next. Inventory is piling up. Months of supply are hitting levels we haven't seen since before the last housing crash. And the deeper you look, the more you realize, this collapse may only be getting started. If you thought part 1 was shocking, buckle up, because the deeper we dig into Florida's condo market, the more devastating the picture becomes. We're not just talking about a slowdown. We're looking at the very foundation of this housing market crumbling right before our eyes. Narration begins. In part 1, we broke down how HOA fees and special assessments have turned Florida condos into financial time bombs. We saw how communities like Regency Gardens in Orlando have been forced to triple fees, leaving owners no choice but to sell at steep losses. But here's the truth, that was just the beginning. Because what's really going to push this crisis over the edge is something much bigger: inventory. When too many people try to sell at once, prices collapse. And right now, inventory levels across Florida's condo market are flashing bright red warning signals. Take Miami Beach as an example. According to condo consultant Peter Zalewski, the months of supply there has hit 15 months. That means it would take more than a year for the market to absorb all the condos currently for sale, even if no new listings were added. To put that into perspective, anything over 6 months is considered a buyer's market. 15 months. That's not just a buyer's market, that's oversupply on a scale we haven't seen since 2007. And it's not just Miami Beach. For the entire southern portion of Florida, the months of supply has climbed to 11.4 months. That's nearly double the normal level. Now, here's why this matters. Inventory is the true predictor of future prices. When supply outpaces demand, values have nowhere to go but down. And in Florida's condo market, supply is piling up at the exact same time buyers are walking away. Why are buyers disappearing? It's simple. Nobody wants to inherit a condo that could hit them with $20,000 bills, $3,000 monthly fees, and never-ending repair projects. What once felt like a dream investment is now being seen as a financial trap. If this all sounds familiar, it should. Because the same warning signs showed up before the 2006 to 2007 housing crash. Back then, people ignored the early indicators, believing Florida real estate could never fall. But we all know how that ended. Today, the data is eerily similar, if not worse. Sellers are slashing prices, yet condos are still sitting unsold for months, sometimes years. Owners are waking up to the reality that their so-called assets are starting to look more like liabilities. And here's the kicker: Florida's